What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to be doing another reaction video to what's this guy's name again? Well, the channel is called the Ice Coffee Hour Clips. Um the biggest problem with buying new cars today. So, I wanted to touch base on this video, go over with y'all and give y'all my thoughts. Let's get started.
I started doing this 10 years ago. Those cars that were brand new 10 years ago are now turning into total junk. Like, it takes a shorter amount of time for modern cars to turn into junk with all the electronics, the hybrid stuff, the turbo stuff, and it's just not built as well. To where all this stuff that it'd take 20 years old for a car to fall apart is now taking 5 or 10 years. So it's this endless well of especially modern European stuff that just falls apart so quick, and it's like, and depreciates so hard that, like, oh my God, this was a $200,000 car 10 years ago, and now it's 10 and it barely moves. Like, this is incredible. And it just that it's so exciting to me to figure out what's going on with it, and the process, and like, and just getting into why these things are just falling apart, and like, can we save this one? Like, maybe we can bring it back. Maybe we can bring this one back and make it usable again. And it works out most of the time. Yeah. How much?
He's not 100% wrong about that. Um, this is how I feel. He's not wrong about that, but um, the thing is, y'all, some of these cars today do last a while. I'm not gonna lie about that. Some of these cars today do last a while. But when he said cars that's like what he said, $200,000, and then now they worth like 10 grand, he's talking about the luxury cars. The luxury cars, the exotic cars, some of those cars don't last that long, over 10 years. You know, some BMWs don't last that long. Some Mercedes don't last that long. And I can keep going down, the rabbit hole. But some of these new cars do last a long time. It all depends on what you're looking for. But some of these cars are crap. It's, to me, you just gotta pick. You just gotta select your pick. I mean, you want a reliable car that's gonna ride to the dirt. Ride to the dirt. You want a reliable car that's gonna ride to the ground, or do you want a car that's gonna, look good for the for the short term, flashy, but then breaks down on you within like 3 to 5 years. You just gotta pick your poison.
Which is the satisfaction of fixing something up, though.
It is. So I'm not a wrench. That's the other part where, like, I have the Car Wizard. I have, different things,
Yeah.
I
different
like
people
Car
to use for
Wizard.
different things. I just sort of document it, which is
He's
so
a good
much
guy.
easier. And I have some technical know-how and a lot of experience to where, like, I understand what the problems are, and I understand what the parts are. I understand how to do it, but I'm just not that hands-on. And I'm much better tasked at, like, breathing down the mechanic's neck, filming, which is annoying for a lot of mechanics, and talking about it, and then understanding from a layman's standpoint.
If you want to record me, I don't have no mind. I won't care. I don't mind. Some mechanics, they don't want you to be breathing down their neck, but me personally, I would like to educate people. Especially if I'm working on someone's car and they want to figure out what's going on with it. I mean, I might as well show them what's going on with it. Besides showing them a piece of paper like, hey, this is what this is and that. That's not gonna really tell much. You gotta sometimes you gotta show and tell. That's just me.
Like, how this works and explaining it in a way that they understand, and the process and all that stuff. If you're a wrench and doing the work, like Tavarish, it is so hard to not only do the work that's hard, but then have to document it and stop and move the cameras and talk about it and everything. And it
Unless you got a
triples the
cameraman.
time it takes to do something or more. It just makes it so much more difficult. And then you're also thinking about the YouTube aspect of it and the story aspect of it rather than fixing the car. And that's why, Freddie is 3 years into his P1 because it's such the scope of the project so insane, but then also having to document it and then, meaningfully move things along at a budget. It's very difficult.
What's the easiest and the hardest car to work on?
Well, I would feel like my 2005 Cadillac Escalade is my daily driver in Arizona, and I have one in Kansas as well. It's just such a simple, easy thing, and it's the right amount of age where it has modern electronics to make it easy to diagnose. Unlike an old car where you're like trying to figure out the carburetor and the points and like different things. It's like check engine lights come on, replace the crank sensor. The crank sensor takes, you have to take the intake off, but it takes an hour. Like it's all very straightforward, very easy. It was still engineered to a point where it's all very accessible. And I go back to like 80s Mercedes diesels. That was the first car I ever bought with my own money for $2,500, and it's just all mechanical. It's like Legos for grown-ups. And once again, they engineered the things to last forever and to be serviceable. So like an 85 Mercedes diesel, like everything's reachable, everything's easy. Like there's no like gotchas where you have to take a whole nose of the car off to reach, to take a belt off like on a modern Audi or whatever. As far as like difficult ones, hard to imagine anything more difficult than a Bugatti. Just because it comes down to, I think, dealer support and how much they're willing to let people access the software to fix and program these cars. And that the modern cars, the new stuff, where the dealers are keeping that all close to the vest, where the right to repair is a very important thing that people are talking about, where dealers keep the software, the programming, all that stuff to themselves, and don't let the normal consumer be able to buy a module and program it. So, for example, like my Bentley Continental GT, it's an Audi, Volkswagen, $50 airbag module. We tried a bunch of different ones. We couldn't get to work. We couldn't get to the program because Audi, Volkswagen keeps it. Bentley keeps the programming. It's $3,000 for the same part from Bentley, just with different programming to work in the Bentley Continental GT. And there was no workaround. There was nothing we could do to figure it out. And that's where I think it gets really annoying. It's the right to repair. Freddie's dealing with it right now with McLarens and stuff. Wow. And Matt Armstrong recently, where Bugatti doesn't want to give up parts on cars and things and take it outside of their service base. So that was the other part of the Bugatti where it's like, I can't really fix it. Like some parts match up, but I can't really fix it myself and with independence because they just don't want to share the intelligence of how to do it.
Is it just about money?
I think it's about...
I'm gonna stop right there. That's true what he's saying. A lot of these manufacturers, they don't want people like us, technicians, mechanics. They don't want us to, they don't want mechanics and technicians to repair cars and figure out what's the problem and how to solve the problem. They want us to they want people to take their cars to the service shop, certified by, the dealership like Toyota, Honda, Ford, Chevy, whatever. They want you to bring the cars there. They want basically. I mean, the guy's about to touch on it with the money thing. It is all about money. They think about it like this, y'all. Ford has a service department, but Ford is not getting customers to service because the customer's not willing to pay Ford's, price. Ford may charge $300 for a wheel alignment, or they may charge $200 for brake cleaning and brake bleeding, and all that other stuff. So people gonna find a shop that's gonna pay half of what Ford is charging, and Ford, they not making their money, but these shops are making the money. That money is coming out of Ford's pocket for their service department. So what they gonna do? They like, hey, we gonna take these modules wherever they need a module for diagnostics or how to get to a sensor, how to remove the sensor, whatever the case may be, even electrical problems. They gotta go to the dealership for that. And the dealer can legally say, well, these are our modules. We can't give it to you. Even at a price, some of them might give it to you at a price. It may be a hefty price, but or they may just not give it to you at all because they want that customer that need or that need those modules and blueprints. They want them to go to the service department for Ford. They don't want us technicians to fix the problem. They want us to be the repair, not the repair. They want us to be the part exchangers. They want you to just mindlessly take apart. Okay, what's gotta be fixed? Oh, remove the rotors and put the brakes on. Move on. Besides trying to figure out why the brake caliper seizes up and what methods can we take to do this and to that and to do that without removing the whole entire part? Because that's the thing. Besides removing the whole entire part, maybe there's a way to fix it mechanically in the brakes. Maybe adjust the caliber, or maybe you gotta adjust the pins, or is something in there that's causing the brake pads to warn fast, and then you can just as a technician you can figure out what's going on so it can be preventable, so when the next time you do replace it, it don't happen again. That's people that diagnose situations and try to figure out how they can fix the situation besides just saying change parts. Just change parts and change parts. I mean, that's what they want. It is a money thing. The guy is right, it is a money thing.
Money, and then also the control of it, and they want the cars fixed to a certain spec and a certain degree in these high performance cars, and they don't want people like me cobbling them together and keeping them going, especially the liability of building a car that goes 250 miles an hour. So like $60,000 for tires on the Bugatti Veyron. Insane. It's nuts. They need to. There
What
has
do you
to be
think is the
some.
material cost on that?
Not much, but it's just because of the mounting. There's only 2 machines in the world that can mount them to these tires. Ed Bullion's talked about this, a lot, and it's just because it's so scarce, and they decided to make it a wheel specific to Veyron, and they just didn't make it easy. That's where the Chiron improved a lot, where they made it a lot more serviceable in that aspect, where there's not 12 different drain points to do an oil change, where you have to take the car half apart to just do an oil change. That's why it costs $15,000 on the Veyron. So they learned a little bit, but they're just not independent mechanic friendly. But then even Ford's getting harder with that. Like even mainstream manufacturers are figuring out, like, hey, why do we give up the keys to the castle when we can just force people to come to the dealer to fix the cars, which is going to suck when they get old and cheap, and kids are trying to keep them going. It's going to be terrible.
Are they making cars more or less reliable?
I would say less reliable, and it's all down to just the high-strung 4-cylinder engines that they're putting in cars to get the most efficiency and more power, and they just don't care about the longevity of it. And then also trying to get out as few warranty repairs as possible, and to make the initial warranty, as far as the cost of regular maintenance, as low as possible. All they care about is when they sell the car, is it showing on Consumer Reports as reliable, and is it showing as low maintenance? So they don't care to say it needs 15,000 mile oil changes. They don't care that things are not built well to last. They just want to make sure it lasts through the warranty, and they're really not caring about how easy it is to work on or that kind of stuff. So it's their motivation to just not do that anymore. Obviously, for a lot of other reasons. Obviously, they want people buying more cars.
And what causes a car to lose so much value? Like, you're talking about these cars that are like 200 grand that you can now get at like 30. Why do certain cars lose so much?
I think it's just things are getting so dated so quickly when it comes to software on cars and things, that the early infotainment cars, like the original BMW iDrive system, is just so clunky. And you get in it now and you're trying to go just change the stereo from FM to satellite or your iPod or whatever. I'm getting old now, so it's all mixing around, so I'm saying things like that. But it's so clunky, and it evolves so quickly. And even Tesla, they try and upgrade. It's nice that Tesla upgrades the cars, like with my 2017 Model X, they were able to update the cameras and everything and make it to where normal FSD works in it. So it's nice, but most manufacturers don't care. The cars they age so quickly because of the software, and also because of how complicated they are, and the serviceability costs are just insane.
Well, he's not lying. He made a good couple of points. some of these new cars are made not to last. Especially like you said, the software systems in the car, they can get kind of like how could I say, they can kind of like malfunction sometimes. Sometimes they don't respond too well, and then sometimes you got to get a software reboot. Like I know Ford had a recall, I think maybe a week or two ago, about something with their software. They had to do a patch update for people. There was a lot of models. A lot of models. I think from maybe 22 and up to this year, 22 to 2026 model year for a lot of vehicles. These cars are just not. They're just not built as they were, years and years ago. Um, Maybe they might change. Maybe they won't. It all depends on who's in. Who. It all depends on who is running these companies. Some people care about this, and some people care about what the customers care about. That being transparent with the customers. Some people are like that. But that's it for today, y'all. Um, as I always say, I'm going to be posting more and more throughout the year, and tune in on the next one. Stay driven.